I can definitely tell this is a smaller boat than a 90. There's that flat area on it. So what they've done, they've got highly rockered bow and more like a planing surface in the center to flatten out and spin. It makes the boat a little more quicker, a little more narrow, but they don't have any edges on it. The edges, there's a slight edge, but it's elevated up, and it's like that. Nice rounded sidewall. So just like the 90, I feel that the stability is like right there. You know, it doesn't feel unstable at all. Like I can really ride out of something on edge like that and be totally fine with it. And unlike the boats that have the edges on them that will just wrap it. That was soft, so I kind of came off of that. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but yeah, so kind of Liquidlogic's philosophy, you know, they don't put really hard edges on their boat, and you either like it or hate it, but more of a paddling style. Stability's where it's at, and it's got to be because it's so wide back here. That's what's making that stability. That is really good and stable right there. A little more narrow right here. The 75, I think, comes in around about 25 or 26 inches wide, somewhere in that range. I think it's an inch to an inch and a half more narrow than the 90. And man, can you tell it, this boat feels fast. Like almost right away, this boat feels fast. Other boats I had paddled, they feel fast in certain environments, but man, this boat feels fast. Let's do a little speed grinder. Whoa! See, that's where it does good. Because it doesn't have that hard edge that a lot of the other boats I've paddled, it wants to get on things like that, and it's very predictable on sliding down things. You know, I can tell by looking at it, it's going to really excel coming off of drops like that. And I like that. That's a southeast style. That's a very southeast style of creek boating, to come off of drops. Tons of flare booths. A lot of our drops out here, they're not massive, but they're very technical. A very modern bow. That bow goes over things. Every boat I've paddled has a really nice bow for kind of just going over things. Let's go for Yeti this time. Oh, that's so predictable on that sidewall. This is a boat that would take care of you, you can tell. Feel it right there. Grab it a little bit. Oh yeah! That thing came off so quickly. Wow, and that kick rocker helps you boost. There's no stern tap. That kick rocker helps with that stern tap. So what they've done, instead of like kicking that edge up that I talked about on the Phantom in my last video, it's like they've kicked the entire rocker up. So you've lost that stern tap, but it lets you get up on that and come off drops. Very good. Man, I feel like you can really, I have no problem with just like a few strokes, and I can just grab like a little boost out of it. Center booth. There's an eddy I could center booth it. Oh, screw it. Still a little low for it. Yeah, that was pretty good. It rides off that stern. So beautiful. Let's go for eddy. finding that flat surface a little better. That's better. It's some technique adjustment, but it's there. Doing that flare booth. That was really easy to come off the stone. When I'm staying center, if I can center myself right over that planing area, it's not bad as far as spinning. But if you're going a little too far forward, a little too far back, it hits those soft outer walls that cause it to not to be as zippy. But it's a trade-off. That also makes it very predictable. I even screwed that up. So, if you see what happened there, it's got a really soft sidewall on it, and I went to engage an edge, and you notice what happened. I locked into the current, so I, at the last second, carried a stroke, which took care of me. It got the bow out from the falls, but I didn't like that. That's exactly where you have to paddle something to kind of like figure it out. So let's try to fix that. All right, let's try that again. This time it's just going to be kind of a traditional line. So now knowing that if you lean forward, you hit that area, I'm going to be more in the neutral position now. I'm going to make that adjustment to come out. Look at that. So that small adjustment is all I need. So it's one of these boats where, you know, you figure it out, you find the spots. That was nice. That was real nice. Yeah, when you're eddying in and out, stay in this area. If you want to zip in and out of those eddies, don't let that bow engage there. So once again, there's no one boat that's perfect for everything. It's like they all do something different. This one surfs nice. It's like I'm laid back on that planing surface, and it's just, the tail on this one is out of the water more. The Piranha, when I was paddling a 9R2, it was very flat, and it would spin. It got its nimble from being so flat throughout the whole thing. And the edges on it, you could engage those edges and just whoop, zip that thing around. But oh boy, if you if you forgot about those edges and you went and kind of put a little lean into a rapid on a pill out, oh, you're going to be counting fish. The Nirvana, it gets its ability to be so stable because it's so high out of the water. That boat is really wide and it lifts you high out of the water and a flat surface. So you don't feel like you're going to flip as much because it's so high, and it does have an edge on the Nirvana, but it's really high out of the water. This doesn't have an edge. Shut your mouth before you get stuck in a tree. See that? Okay, see it engaged that stern right there. See? It does have a tendency to go up, but it doesn't feel like it's going to go over. It took me up and loaded it right there. That was different. Cross valve, champagne eddy. I'm going to try to boost, turn in the air, land right behind the Jarrett's knee rock. Ooh, there it was. A little better. I was able to make that turn in the air because that tail didn't lock in as fast. Coming through holes and drops, lean back, get on that tail, and engage everything off of that tail. I want to experiment with this boat a little more. It's not a super small boat, and I think it would fit me nicely. There you go. All right, so final thoughts after paddling it. This kick rocker is really nice. It's really good to get back on that stern. This thing, you can kind of get back on it and come off of things like that. Almost too easy. So if there's a rock right here, I feel I can paddle up and just slide off. It's nice, rounded surface here. That more southeast style creaky. Bow rocker's really nice and wide. It's not as wide as the other boats out there, but it's rounded and soft. So it feels like the Phantom when it hits and goes in, where the Nirvana and 9R and just hit very flat up there. Boom. It's a very predictable boat, very comfortable, very predictable. It didn't surprise me anywhere. The only thing is getting used to being back in a more rounded style boat. Really good boat, outfitted nicely, felt good in it, felt comfortable the whole time. It felt like it's a small medium to me, but I'm okay with that. I felt like I could control it a lot easier than I could the 90. The 90 just felt like it was kind of swallowing me up a little too much. But yeah, so let's get to the top.